everyone.
I'm back, baby.
It's Jake Ciely.
I'm great. Everybody else sucks.
Oh,
no. It's every nightmare I've ever had.
Excuse me?
It's time to check the link.
Pretty crazy, huh? But it doesn't matter because none of this has anything to do with the show.
You know what? You just made the list.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time. Really? No.
What's up, you ducks? Cut day in the books. It's all in football on FTN Fantasy. If you want to check out FTN, you can go over there, use code ALLIN to get 20% off. If you want to check out the rankings and projections, which I'm in the midst of updating. I was just trying to figure out stupid Taysom Hill screwing up my projections for the Saints because I got to move him to tight end, which, well, yeah, makes a lot of things go haywire over there. But anyway, updating those will be fresh update was yesterday, another fresh update again today. There'll be some movement, potentially Sony Michel finding a new team. There'll be a couple players who are cut that are going to have to, look, it's updated. Go over there. Check it out. It'll be there for you. Chris, that's what we're going to do today. Kind of a run through. It is the final week. Next week, football is here. Reminder, no Monday show because we have nothing to recap. And it's also Labor Day here in the States. So, wait, do you have Labor Day in Canada? A legit question. I'm not trying to be stupid.
No, it's all good. Yeah, we do. So there'll be no Mean Streets on Monday either. So it'll be a quiet Monday, and then it is go time.
It is go time because next Tuesday will be week 1 waivers with Lauren. And next Wednesday will be week 1 ranks and talk and get you ready for week 1 of the fantasy season. So stay tuned for that. We're going to make a list maybe at some point, Matt. Congratulations to everybody who's won T-shirts. Reminder, I will give 2 more T-shirts out before the season starts, as long as we keep getting 50-plus likes. Keep the comments coming. Helps answer some questions on the shows for you guys. But the T-shirts, I announced 2 yesterday. I think you missed, Chris, the fun of it because it was James Ferreri, Ferree, F-E-R-R-E-E.
Jerry Ferrara?
I haven't got an email from you yet, or Anthony DiMario. I haven't got one from him either. So I keep doing it every single time. I'm actually kind of glad he hasn't emailed so I could do it again because I want to get my email so I can send up the shirt to Anthony DiMario.
Maybe that's why he doesn't like it. But how could you not like it with a last name like that? Yeah, I'm sure he's heard that once or twice before.
Yeah. So all right,
and that email,
we're gonna run through. It's kind of like a rapid fire because this is the last show before waivers, and we're going to try to get to all 32 teams today because there's cuts, final reactions. There's a little bit of news with every single team. If there's not much, we're going to blaze through it. So if you have any questions, like I said, drop them in the comments now or after the fact, and we'll talk about it. So Arizona, out of the gate, Chris. Not really much going on here except for what I think is if you're drafting this weekend, on this team is James Conner the best value in fantasy because got treated with the bell cow work, got a bell cow-like contract, and very, 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 very little competition behind him. They did not bring back the Drake. James Conner, most disrespected running back in fantasy this year.
Yeah, he might be, despite, I think, like 3.7, 3.9 yards per attempt, which was his lowest mark for his career. He was a touchdown machine. He was getting all the goal line work, which I think will be the case. Yeah, I'm really interested to see. I'd like to get your thoughts. Connor's great. No competition. Yes. He's going to get all the touches, 20 plus probably. Maybe he's going to average 17. Who knows? Going to get double-digit touchdowns. Maybe catch a few more passes with Hopkins. But if you were taking a shot on, running back towards the end, very last pick, Benjamin, Darrell Williams is there. Which guy would you go? Because they're kind of neck and neck. You kind of have to pick your choice. Darrell Williams. The vet.
Yeah, because I don't trust Eno Benjamin between the tackles. That's really what it comes down to. I think Eno Benjamin's role is secured, and he's the constant. It's similar to what we talked about, and I made the joke on the other shows, like who's the constant here? The constant is Eno Benjamin. His role stays the same. I think Darrell Williams steps in. I think the more interesting would have been if they would have let Williams go and then kept Ingram and Eno Benjamin, and then Jonathan Ward, who probably looks like he's probably going to be a practice squad. Maybe he's still on the roster as of today. So Atlanta Falcons. Let's move over to them. Kyle Pitts, Brian Edwards, Drake London, names, blah, blah, blah. I threw Brian Edwards in there because do we care about Brian Edwards or is Zacchaeus? Or do we care about Zacchaeus? Do we care about anybody outside Kyle Pitts and Drake London? And then I give a second question for this one. You just brought up Darrell Williams. Are you still on Tyler Algier? Because I know you were championing him as much as I was for the past month or two. But it looks like if you draft him, either two things. You don't have to draft him, or two, if you do, you're going to have to be patient.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of patience there for him, but Cordero didn't really play. They're treating him as the lead, but towards the end of the season, he didn't have a lot of games where he had double-digit carries, and I don't think that's going to continue. He's a nice player that you can move all over the field, good on the Falcons, and Arthur Smith to actually find a role for this guy. It's been a long time since we've seen him even relevant in the NFL. So I'm in on Tyler Algier outside the top 40 at the running back position. He hasn't moved. He's kind of just lived in that 40-45 range. And I think it'll be sooner rather than later. I'd say week 5. This is a guy who is dominating first and second down reps and getting some goal line work. I'm in, but I don't care about anybody else. Edwards and Mariota, flash in the pan from the Vegas days, second team offense. Maybe these guys have some moments, but no chance. It's got to be a deep league to take a shot on him.
Okay. I like all the questions we have so far for like way down. As you can't tell, I'm going alphabetically for everybody out there. Yeah. And they're like San Francisco and Washington. Like we're going to get to them, but you're way down the list right now. So Baltimore Ravens. This one was a little interesting because J.K. Dobbins, and now we hate the Drake because we talked about it yesterday with Lauren. Does anybody hate the Drake more than Mike Davis? Because I was like, hey, you might have a glimmer of hope. So I'm going to phrase it this way because we know Bateman. After that, it's basically Bateman and Andrews. There's been a lot of hype about Isaiah Likely. Actually, you know what? I will give you 2 questions for this team. Okay. I'm telling people to chill out on Isaiah Likely. He's still a rookie tight end who's playing behind Mark Andrews. Granted, they might run a lot of two tight end sets, but it's not frequent that NFL teams will run 2 tight end sets and send them both in routes. So this is a little... Let me phrase it that way, Chris. I'm going to change this question. Are you have any concern for Mark Andrews because he might get asked to block while Isaiah Likely runs a route?
Oh my goodness. I mean, sure, that's possible. We'll probably see some of that. No, I don't have any concerns with Mark Andrews.
I didn't think so, but it just,
Yeah, no, it's fair. Likely went tight end 14 in a best ball draft I did live on me.
What?
Ahead of Njoku. I know ahead of Njoku, ahead of Gerald Everett. I don't really care about Higbee, but ahead of that kind of back end, what would we call that? The 5th tier of tight ends or something silly like that. So people are really drinking Likely Kool-Aid.
If they run Andrews in line and Isaiah Likely in the slot, then or even outside, maybe they use him like Kyle Pitts. But yeah, I have Likely around the low 20s, 30 range, and flyer deep leagues. But I'm not expecting too much. All right, so J.K. Dobbins, how concerned are you now seeing that Kenyan Drake got signed?
Well, he's definitely not going to be ready. He'll probably be on a pitch count to start. I think overall, Drake's probably going to have a role here. I think the biggest, like you said, with Mike Davis, this is the guy that's like, oh, crap. I was going to be able to start the season, maybe have that third down role here where Gus Edwards doesn't really catch, and we didn't see J.K. Dobbins catch too many passes, early on in his career in that first year. So I think Drake's going to have a role. I'm a little worried about J.K. And all of a sudden, a lot going on there. Edwards will be back in 4 or 5 games. Drake, Davis.
Really?
Maybe.
Would it shock you if Edwards is just a non-factor this year?
I don't think so. I think they like this guy. His first.
So you think Edwards comes back and Mike Davis is gone?
Yeah, or
Justice Hill. Justice Hill's pass catcher. How many running backs? They're not going to keep 5.
I know, and they got a rushing quarterback in Lamar, right? So it's just a piece. I just don't think I want anything to do with the entire backfield, and it's too bad because I'm with you. I like J.K. Dobbins. I like him as a player. I thought this could be last year could be the breakout campaign, but yeah, I guess I would say that it's Drake and Davis for the first couple weeks battling it out, and maybe one of those guys get cut. If Edwards is ready to go, then one.
Let me ask you if this is fair. In my rankings with the updated projections and updated my rankings because they're not exactly 1 for 1. So I go Singletary, Penny, Dobbins, Melvin Gordon, Cordero Patterson. Sound about right?
Yeah.
Would you put Dobbins any higher? Would you take Penny and Singletary in front of him?
No, maybe Singletary, but I'm not completely sold. It's another crowded backfield, right? Singletary is a good back.
J.K. Dobbins or Chase Edmonds?
I would take Chase Edmonds.
Edwards-Helaire?
I would take Edwards-Helaire.
Stevenson?
Ooh. I would take Stevenson. Okay. I think he's going to have a role. He might have a third down role, too.
Breece Hall?
So Brees is really interesting. I saw a poll somebody tweeted, and more people are willing to draft Dameon Pierce over Brees Hall, which is wild to me. That's how crazy he has jumped up. Yeah, but
we talked about it on the show forever. Actually, no, that's right. My bold prediction was on The Athletic podcast. It was one of Beller's last podcasts. A month ago. Yeah. Check the tape. 1,100 yards, the first 1,100-yard rusher for the Houston Texans since Arian Foster in 2014. That's how long it's been since they've had a running back run for 1,100 yards. 2014, Arian Foster for the Houston Texans. Yeah. All right, so, Chris, you know what we just did?
We made a list.
We made a list!
What did we just do? Yeah, there it is. You voted on that poll, Albert. I voted on that poll. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Michael Carter's actually going to be I don't think he's going to be as phased as maybe we
No, I do think he will be phased more out of the equation as the season goes on.
Yeah.
But Brees Hall, so I'll give you an example. I told this to Lauren yesterday. There was an insight, like somebody from The Athletic who has reports on another sport and doesn't play, asked, and they said, hey, I'm weak at quarterback. Should I trade Winston and Hall for Patrick Mahomes? Said, and also she had Dameon Pierce, AJ Dillon. She had 6 running backs. 6 running backs. I was like, I would actually do that because, and this is the argument I gave, and this is what I told Lauren yesterday. I said, I would do that because, first of all, you're getting Patrick Mahomes. Fine. Second of all, you could probably go get Brees Hall back in a trade in 3 or 4 weeks when they get frustrated that he's not getting all the work.
Yeah, you probably can. And we see this with a lot of rookie running backs. You know, we saw with Javonte Williams. You know, he didn't come on strong until the end. Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor. These are guys over the past couple years.
Oh, please don't be Cam Akers. Cam Akers was the end of the year. That was yeah.
That was consolation bracket style, yeah.
All right, so Buffalo, we just talked about Devin Singletary. Does the exit of O.J. Howard make you think that Dawson Knox repeats as a top 10 tight end? That's the only question I have for Buffalo. Buffalo's kind of copy and paste.
Loaded.
No, we already just talked about Singletary.
OJ's trying out with the Bengals today. I saw that.
I know.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's going to be touchdown dependent like a lot of tight ends. I don't think he's going to have the type of work as the first 5 or 6 tight ends off the board. But, you know, if you're in that range with Goddard and Hawkinson and Zach Ertz, I could see him, you know, finishing ahead of those guys.
Rank those 3
touchdowns.
Rank those 3. Ertz, Goddard, and Knox.
Goddard. I would rank him Goddard, Hawkinson.
You said Ertz.
Okay.
Did you include Hawkinson?
I did. I kind of went in. My rankings go Goddard, Hawkinson, Knox, Ertz. Like that.
Okay. What about Freiermuth? What about Air Fryer?
He's after that tier.
Ooh,
I actually like Kmet ahead of Freiermuth.
I know you like Kmet, but
you know, I'm just gonna go down with Cole Kmet. Whatever.
He's gonna catch 70 balls in 1 touchdown.
No, screw that. He already has a touchdown. Are you kidding me? This is the season for
I know. He only gets 1 more. Actually, really interesting about Cole Kmet. You know what? Alphabetical. Screw it for a second. We're skipping because Chicago's so close. We're gonna skip right past Carolina and come back. Okay. Chicago, I was gonna bring up the backfield, but not that. Let's go Cole Kmet first. The concerning thing is the snap count in the preseason. Yeah. Granted, it's preseason. But last season, he was on the field for over 70% of the time. This preseason, he was not. He was out there way under 70% of the time, like in the 60s, sometimes 50s, depending on. So that's what I say. Are you putting any weight into that?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Maybe they like him, right? Maybe they don't have, like, have you seen their wide receiver room? And have you seen the injuries? I saw the tweet the other day from a Chicago beat writer. They listed 7 wide receivers. 4 of them I didn't even know who the heck they were. And they were all hurt. It's like,
yeah, but can you name their depth chart at wide receiver? There's 6 of them.
Yeah, there's like Kevin White. No, I was going to say Kevin White from the old Kevin White. There's,
oh, wow.
No. There's N'Keal Harry, right, who's hurt.
But already. He's not. He's essentially not because he's going to be on the Equanimous St. Brown.
Jones, yes. Pringle. These guys are all hurt.
Yes.
They're all done.
You got 2 more. One used to play for the Giants and then the 49ers before the Giants. And then the other one was with the. Yes, and then the one that used to play for the Falcons, and then also the Titans mixed in there. What is this? A Sharpie? Tajay Sharp?
Tajay Sharp.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I forgot he was there.
I think a lot of people forgot he was in the league.
Yeah, I liked him at one moment in Tennessee, like for like a week or two. I think I wrote him up for the fantasy footballers, and that didn't work out.
Dude, there were so many people that were excited about Tajay Sharp for that brief spell in Tennessee. It's like, oh, it's happening. No, it's not. So,
Chicago.
Carolina, cha-cha-cha. With Carolina, Christian McCaffrey is like that doesn't matter. I asked yesterday for Lauren Laviska Chenault. Seems to be the only conversation we're having left with Carolina. They're pretty much set at this point. It's we know Robbie Anderson's in the contest for number 2 now that Higgins has that connection with Baker Mayfield. Blah 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 blah. Do you care at all about Laviska Chenault? Because we did not, and we moved on.
Yeah, I don't think so. I have been telling people to buy low in dynasties. Is like he had 100 targets last year. I don't know. He's a good wide receiver. I remember we liked him coming out of college. Maybe he's just like. Last year was a complete write-off.
That injury, he hasn't been anything since that injury. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He completely lost his explosiveness.
And if he's a factor, he probably stunts the growth of Terrace Marshall. I don't know. It's a good buy low for Carolina.
That's
I don't think
like.
there's fantasy relevant.
Deep leagues only, and put it in a pin in the back of your head. Like Terrace Marshall. I like some Terrace Marshall. So skilled coming out of college, needed work in the NFL. You know this. I kept comparing him to Marquise Lee back in the day, who said he was so skilled that he was lazy in his route running because he just dominated in college. And then when it came to, hey, look, these other guys are as athletically skilled as I am. Maybe I need to clean up my routes. Maybe I need to be a little more precise. I think that he could be very intriguing if he gets it right. This backfield, are you trying to figure it out, or do you think it's a complete timeshare? I think it's a timeshare. I think it's Deonta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard are both involved if Christian McCaffrey goes down. I don't think there'll be a clear lead.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe like Foreman could overtake Chuba to like 60-40, but it'll probably be split, yeah.
Okay. Cincinnati. Move on? Like, I mean, what do you even need to say about Cincinnati?
Like the squad, man. Offensive line is revamped. I think they're going to knock on the door again and come playoff time.
Did OJ Howard have any impact for you for hitting her? Like, it's copy-paste tight ends. You have two really good blocking tight ends who are like somewhat of a matchup. But at best case, they're fifth because you have the backfield plus the 3 wide receivers. I don't even care if there's nobody.
You know, I saw some reports that Hurst could open up the offense for them, but I mean, how the offense is pretty open last year.
How much more open does it need to be?
It looked pretty good. It looked pretty good, right? Tyler Boyd was a top 30 wide receiver down the stretch when Burrow was starting to chuck more. I think the only question is if you want to handcuff Mixon with maybe Samaje. I like Chris Evans, but I think if Mixon went down, then Evans would have that third down role and Samaje would have the first.
I think Evans could eventually take over P. Ryan, but it's still P. Ryan as of today. I got to tell you, I'm pretty sure, call me crazy, Chris, but I'm pretty sure defensive coordinators in the NFL are not looking at the Bengals and going, man, we got to stop that Hayden Hurst guy.
Oh, man, did you hear OJ Howard is trying out there? Another weapon to try and stop. Yeah, maybe Hurst will be wide open.
Open it up.
You know, he's running
Open
routes.
it up.
It's open. You got 2 top 10 wide receivers and Joe Burrow, who just went to the Super Bowl in his second year in the NFL. It's open.
But Hayden Hurst is going to really make that offense click. He's going to take it to the next level.
You watch 2 touchdowns week 1, Hayden Hurst.
We won't even do the show. Just quit. Hayden Hurst is coming for us. Cleveland. We know Brissett's the quarterback. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Amari Cooper. I keep telling people I love Amari Cooper in the 20s because of the volume, and I don't care. It's Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, 30s. David
Njoku. Here, I think that's the intriguing one. People are trying to figure out David Bell, Donovan Peoples-Jones. You know I've made the joke that Jacoby Brissett can't throw it down to Donovan Peoples-Jones, which helps Cooper. But I kept saying, which also helps David Njoku. I put him in the last year's trash article. David Njoku, I think, is a tight end 1 this year.
I like him a lot. He, I've been taking him quite a bit. If I don't get my guy Komet, Njoku's like next up for me. And if you avoid, I don't want to say avoid, but if it doesn't work out for you where you don't get a lead tight end and you're not really sold on that middle tier that we just talked about, the Hawkinson Goddards of the world, like Komet and Njoku, even deeper than that, Brevin, like you can do Njoku and Brevin maybe towards the end, and one of these guys I think will pan out for you. Yeah, I love Njoku. He's a great athlete. It was just crowded. It was just a crowded tight end room with Hooper and Bryant, and it's still going to be a run-first team, but man, he runs when he's on the field. He's running routes, and he's look at the game that he played against Kansas City last year. I think he had like 170 some odd yards, but Baker missed him a couple times. he was running routes down the field. He's a really good athlete. I like Njoku. I think it's fine to quote unquote reach. Like after that tier, just go get him. Like don't mess around with the Higby and the Everetts of the world. Just go get Njoku.
No. As we always say, you don't want tight end 10. You want the one that could potentially be top 6. So I'll give you a versus. I'm still taking Big Irv, the real big tight end. As you know, I said the entire time. No Big O. Big Irv is what you want. I'm still taking Big Irv over Njoku. Which would you take?
Yeah, I think I would wait a round or two. I think Irv has a higher ceiling. New offense. He's probably going to be a little bit more involved. But I think I would wait a couple more rounds and just get Njoku.
Because of the ADP difference? What if they were going back to back? Then Irv.
They're going back to
you're
back.
definitely...
Yeah, Irv. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Irv's a better. I think he's
Team
a better
Irv.
athlete. Team Irv.
Let's
Could it be Joshua Dobbs too? Does it matter?
At quarterback?
Yeah. What if Brissett just stinks up the joint for the first 2 weeks? This guy's awful.
I mean, we've seen plenty of Dobbs. I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference.
Right, it's true.
Again, just pepper the living hell out of Cooper and Njoku. The ball's not going to go down to Donovan
Amari
Peoples-Jones.
is now a ninth, feels like an 8th and 9th round pick as wide receiver 34, 35 on average. Dude,
I had so much
but I have
pain.
so much shares now.
I know it's coming tonight. I'm going to be on with the CBS telethon for the St. Jude that they did. Yesterday was the draft, and it pained me so much because I was the 6th pick in the 2nd round. Nick Chubb was still there. And I was like, gotta take Nick Chubb. I got the middle of the 2nd round. Like people know I'm not super high on Chubb, but like consistent as consistent gets. But then Cooper was still there in the 7th round, and I'm like, well,
you got
go Browns.
Go Brownies. Chubb is the guy that is falling. People have said to me that they don't want him because they're not going to score a lot of points and the offense is not going to be good and Jacoby Brissett's under center. But I think Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett. But how much of a drop off is the offense? Like how much?
I'm with you. And the best part about it, Chris, is we went ahead and threw the Cleveland Browns defense on that team because for everybody out there are 3 defenses, real quick, 3 defenses I'm targeting in drafts.
Oh, yeah, their schedule is awesome.
San Francisco 49ers, good defense, great first 2 weeks. Denver Broncos, might be a questionable defense, but great first 2 weeks, and wouldn't surprise me if their defense is better. Cleveland Browns, Carolina, Jets, Pittsburgh at home, Atlanta. It doesn't get much more of a cake start to the September month of the season. Actually, I guess Atlanta's technically in October. But point being, the first 4 games and the Cleveland Browns defense is good. Give me all those are the 3 defenses I'm targeting.
I got them written down too. Cleveland, Green Bay, but Green Bay's got Tampa in week 4. And then I also want to give a shout out to Indy. I just think Indy's a really good defense in a very weak division. They start Houston, Jacksonville.
That's a good one too. I'll agree with you on that. And here's the thing: is like if you draft the Rams or the Bills, like you're like sitting them in week 1. Like, do you really want to? Like, are you really going to take a defense and then immediately turn around and sit them in week 1?
I don't think you can't do that. You got to play them. But good luck. No Tre'Davious White first week too. Like, oh man, the Rams could just cook right away.
Yeah, let somebody else. Hey, if you're in an auction, throw out the Bills defense and watch somebody pay $3 and just move on from there.
Bad idea, actually.
Dallas Cowboys. So there's not a lot to talk about here besides this is the question I'm going to throw at you, Chris. And this is one that people I see coming because I've been all over Schultz. I'm talking about CeeDee Lamb, top 6, blah, blah, blah. Is Michael Gallup a huge value? Like, he's not on the IR, so he's back before 4 weeks. Maybe he's not 100% until the 4th week. But people are treating Gallup like he's Jameson Williams. And, I seen Tolbert go in front of Michael. Michael Gallup's the number 2 when he's 100%.
Man, he's been the biggest steal all summer. And now that we have this news, he's jumping up a little bit. I love Gallup. And this offense that's going to be pass happy, depleted offensive line coming into this season. Last year was 1 or 2 in points per game and passing yards per game right there with Tampa Bay. I love Gallup, man. This is it. We saw the upside in Gallup last year, but it was Amari Cooper. There was so much going on. Now it's Gallup. You got Tolbert as a rookie. James Washington's already hurt. Yeah, I think he's a terrific target, and I think he has wide receiver 3 upside. And you're getting him in drafts as your 5th or 6th wide receiver. I think make him a target. Gallup's
I'm
free.
with you on
Absolutely,
that. Yeah. Speaking of injured receivers coming back, Denver Broncos, everything's Courtland Sutton, everything's Jerry Jeudy. We know what the backfield is. Albert O's kind of been washed to the side, although Dolchik's going to start on the IR, sounds like, so maybe opens things up a little bit. KJ Hamler, sneaky value late pick. Like, remember last year, everybody said, love some KJ. I love some KJ Hamler. Now that Tim Patrick's out, and he's just kind of going under, like, I don't even see him drafted in some leagues.
No, not really. Yeah, and if you're doing best ball, you can do that pretty late with him. He's pretty explosive. Line him up in the slot, or they go Judy out wide. I mean, because Judy was probably going to play some slot with Patrick, and now they got 2 slot guys. Judy probably outside.
Would it shock you? Would it shock you?
Or sorry, Hamler.
If KJ Hamler was more valuable than Jerry Judy?
Oh, it would a little bit, but the fact that his price is free and we've yet to see KJ.
I mean,
it's been a crowd.
It would be a pretty big shock. But like,
it would be
there's a non-zero chance it happens though.
Right, and he's really explosive. So, Russell's a very accurate quarterback. He's super efficient.
If I gave you 75-1, Hamler outdoes Judy, would you put a bet on it?
Of course, but I'm like, I have issues.
How about 25-1?
Make it 30.
Oh, I got you thinking. Make it 30? Deal. 30 done. 30-1.
How high is too high for Cortland Sutton? I love this guy, but now I'm seeing him getting drafted as like wide receiver 11 and 12. Is that ludicrous?
You're buying him at peak value. We talked about it in the Athletics show. I talked about it with Mayo. It's like that seems to be the prevailing question right now is what the hell is going on, because that news broke that he's the one that he looks for, Russell Wilson, when the play breaks down, and it went pew! I don't know if that's the correct sound. Pew! But anyway.
Pretty much. It seems like people think that it's a pretty weak rocket. This year's or last year's Cup, and they want in, but Cup was a 4th-round pick. Like, he didn't get this kind of steam towards the start.
Sutton's been creeping into the second round.
Sutton is going ahead of the Chargers wide receivers. Both of them finished as top 12 wide receivers last year, and Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. He's going pretty early, man. I like Sutton. I think he's a great target towards the end of the third. If you pick in that 8, 9, 10 range, you can go wide receiver.
What am I writing, Chris?
You can come back and do it. I think you're.
What did I just write? What did I just write on the piece of paper?
Poop or bust or fade or.
Oh, there you go.
Don't buy all the risk.
There you go.
Hashtag.
You should have known. You should have known that by now. Come on.
Yeah, that's what the show should be called.
Don't buy all the risk.
Sutton or Allen Robinson. I'd go Sutton there, but that's kind of the range that I feel comfortable with those two, but Sutton's been going a little bit earlier than that.
Jay Dust is trying to get banned. Sutton is due. Oh God, I hate that in sports so much. I hate that so much. That is one of my. Oh my God, there is no such thing in sports as being due. Every individual play is an individual occurrence. Yes, regression should steer you back. Oh my God,
they went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Oh, they're due. They're due.
Oh yeah, they're 100% due. Well, we gotta start rapid fire. We're halfway through, and we're not even halfway through the teams. All right, Detroit Lions. DJ Chark, value or not too interested because it's around St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, TJ Hawkinson. Like,
I think I think he could be something in the first few weeks of the season. Then when Jameson comes back, then it's just crowded. He could take a back seat, but he's like quote unquote the veteran here for Goff. Yeah, I think he could be okay. I think it's a decent dart throw. I'm not totally interested, though. There's
some talk that Jameson might not be until week 8, so there's concern there.
Had a good half of the season with Chark.
The Green Bay Packers only have 2 running backs right now, but that's not the thing we're thinking about. If you had to rank the top 3 Packers wide receivers as of today, Watkins, Cobbs, Watson, Dobbs, however you want to pronounce it, whatever, like, how are you ranking them?
I'll go Lazard, Watson, Dobbs.
Thank you. I purposely left the biggest one out. Lazard, Watson, Dobbs. You're just leaving the vets out altogether?
Yeah.
Barkley.
Yeah.
Come here.
Leaving the vets out altogether. I'm trusting in the skill set of Watson, the draft pedigree, and there was all that talk about Dobbs early on, but Watson's now healthy and he's going, and Rodgers he's had a lot of nice things to say about him, and I believe Rodgers when he talks.
Who hasn't Rodgers talked about?
And and I just want to say A.J. Dillon is a fantastic target in the 5th and the 6th round.
Rodgers, when he retires, just needs to be PR for wide receivers. I mean, pretty sure he mentioned me in some list that he was talking about at some point about how great I looked on the field. I mean, like, just stop, Rodgers. Not everybody is great. We understand. You lost Devontae Adams, and you're trying. It's obvious. You're pushing a little too hard here, man. Houston Texans. Dameon Pierce time is here. Marlon Mack on the roster. What did we say all year, Chris? Like this, if I could get up right now and not freak out Barkley, I would do one of my victory laps on this one because it was Dameon Pierce. So we don't want to talk about Dameon Pierce. It's obvious. RB2, locked in. I already mentioned my bold prediction. Nico Collins, intriguing wide receiver in the 12th, 13th, 14th round.
I'm in, man. Year 2, 3rd round pick 2 years ago. 2nd year with Mills. 6'2", big body, can go up and get it. A lot of opportunity for volume and targets. I am in on Nico Collins.
All right. Then let's move to Indianapolis. And here's the question I have for you for this team. Alec Pierce or Paris Campbell? Who's the more valuable?
Close. It's not even close, and it's Alec Pierce. It's not even
so
close.
Then the follow-up question is, or I should say the follow-up statement is, be patient, because it might not be out of the gate.
Sure. Be patient. Run first team. They don't run a lot of 2 wide receivers or wide receiver 3 sets. That's why I think Paris Campbell is in the doghouse. Last year, he couldn't get on the field in 2 wide receiver sets with nobody else there after Pittman. And this year, we already saw it, like in the preseason. It was Pierce over him. It's Pierce over him in practice. Yeah, be patient. But who's going to be the number 2? There's an opportunity here for both of these guys to step up and be the 2. But I lean with the young Pierce.
Jonathan Taylor's workload is going down.
No chance.
Their depth chart is Taylor Hines and Deion Jackson.
Right. Like, they don't have much. Nyheim Hines is maybe the second target right away. I know. I suppose Taylor would be. Taylor's still going to catch 50 passes. Like Pittman, Taylor, Hines, and then what? Like Pierce. Somebody has to step up as number 2 for this team.
Somebody does have to step up. All right, Jacksonville. Speaking of stepping up, Christian Kirk, I have in front of Darnell Mooney. Is that insane, Chris Meaney?
No, I don't think so. I like him a lot. I took him in your flex league. I think he could finish top 15 in targets. That's why we kind of like Mooney too. Good athlete, but clear number 1 there in Jacksonville, and a team that's going to have to throw a lot. I like him. I actually don't mind taking shots on either Jones boy either. Like, these guys are going to throw the ball a lot.
Evan Ingram, tight end 1 potential? Get back to his rookie season?
I don't think so.
Ooh, because?
Because he can't catch. No, I don't know.
That's what they said about Eric Ebron for the longest time.
Yeah, true. I don't know. Arnold's still there. I think he has upside to be top 15, but not top 20.
Everybody's injury prone until they're not, and everybody can't catch until they can. not
struggling
true.
with
that doesn't work as well. Kirk over Robert Woods, Mr. Nice Guy, and I love some Robert Woods, so that should tell you that I'm pretty high on Christian Kirk.
I agree.
Kansas City. We talked Juju Smith-Schuster. We talked this backfield, which is they kept Ronald Jones. He's on the roster, so that's a cluster. The wide receiver.
What does that tell you about
cluster.
the Pacheco? I mean, I trust a lot of your colleagues, man. There's a lot of your colleagues and scouts who follow the game that are not really big believers in Pacheco. What does that tell you? If they really love Pacheco, Jones would be gone. McKennick's
100%
made the team too. So
100%. So Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore, Mecole Hardman. You can only draft one. Which one are you taking the flyer on?
Man. A month ago it was Sky Moore, but I'm coming around on MVS. Like, they paid him more than Juju. He's playing 2 wide receiver sets.
With Juju.
I think he'll get more snaps than Sky Moore. If you're a Sky Moore believer, what you said earlier, I think it may just take some time, patience. I think I'm going to go MVS. It's like some highs and lows inside a powerful offense in a crazy, crazy division. Give me
The Raiders are pretty much telling you what I've been saying this entire time. It's like, we don't need that much wide receiver depth because we don't even care after the top 3. It's Waller, Renfro, and Adams. Let's move on. The questions are, let's move on and look at that backfield. That has a lot of options. That has 4 options. So, Josh Jacobs, I still think is an RB2, Chris, because guess who was in that situation last year? Damian Harris. Now, Damian Harris needed rushing touchdowns to get there, but if we think the Raiders' offense is going to be explosive, why is Josh Jacobs getting pushed into the RB3 territory? Am I crazy?
No, you're not. And the fantasy community is crazy for this one because for years they would say they didn't want anything to do with Josh Jacobs because the Raiders were no good. The Raiders are awful. He's going to be game scripted. When they're down in games, he's not going to be on the field. Now they're good, right? Now Derek Carr, who threw 4,800 yards last year.
And now you want Amir Abdullah.
Yeah, now everyone wants Amir Abdullah. It is crowded, right? Amir and Bolden and Zamir, but I think Jacobs he's always been an RB2. right? He's just at the end of the day, he finishes roughly as an RB2. He hasn't had too many RB1 weeks, but he hasn't had too many RB4 weeks either. He's just consistent. The offense is great. They're going to be in so many 50-point total games. He's going to fall in the end zone a couple times. I'm with you. I think Jacobs is a pretty in that dead zone RB range. I think he's a decent back.
All right, if Sony Michel, we'll talk about Chargers now. If Sony Michel signs with the Chargers, should I stop taking flyers on my boy Isaiah Spiller, who returned to practice today, by the way?
Yeah, this is concerning.
For
what
who?
do they want him for? For all the backups.
Thank you.
What do they want him? And like Kelly, and then you just drafted Spiller.
That might be the best question. What do you want him for?
This morning when I saw the report, I just assumed it was Rams. I just saw Los Angeles and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Bring them back. It sucks for Akers, Henderson. Oh, they get the 3 of these guys again. But
Nope, wrong Los Angeles.
Wrong Los Angeles. Yeah, I would kind of stay away from Isaiah unless, you want to buy low in a keeper or dynasty league, go ahead, but not good.
All right. Los Angeles Rams, as you mentioned.
Rams.
I'm slanting this question for you, Chris. This is a very easy one. Like Akers, we've talked about ad nauseum, and like it sounds like he's okay. He was on the field practicing with his helmet with Darrell Henderson the other day. I kept saying like it kind of feels like Sean McVay's playing us this whole time because he's like oh, he's not 100%. Of course, like just held him out for the preseason basically and made it like oh, he's not 100%. That's what we talked about yesterday. So today's question, then I'm going to slant to you. Van Jefferson, now disrespected as one of the most valuable wide receiver 3s in the league. Like, shouldn't he be in the conversation with Tyler Boyd? Like, hell, if one of the top 2 went down, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good offense. So we had Stafford in year 2 with Sean McVay. I expect him to actually take a step forward, adding Allen Robinson to the squad. Yeah, I think Van Jefferson's a guy that I had on my roster, a bunch of my rosters last year. There was a lot of highs and lows. He seemed to get at least one deep target every single game when Deshaun Jackson left. So yeah, he's free. He's not going to cost you anything. Robinson dealt with a ton of injuries last year. Cooper Kupp has dealt with injuries over the course of his career as well. So it's a nice little quote unquote handcuff at the wide receiver position.
Miami Dolphins 1 to 10. How concerned are you now with Jalen Waddle?
Well, I haven't seen him.
Thank you.
Concerned.
That's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking the question.
15. I don't know.
15.
Like, I'm concerned. I'm significantly concerned. You added Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle was top 10 in targets. He got a ton of work towards the end of the season when there was nobody else there. He hasn't been on the field here. And Tyreek is going to be the one inside this offense. So, honestly, probably a 7. He's been going too high for me. He's been going too high in drafts.
Or Mike Williams?
Whatever the heck you say. Mike Williams is close. Honestly,
Jalen Waddle, or Gabriel Davis. That's a 2.
Gabriel
two.
Davis. Terry
Juju?
McLaurin, everybody in that range. He's another guy that's kind of like, I don't trust his health. So maybe I'm taking Waddle, but
Godwin?
all those guys.
Would you wait on Godwin or would you draft Jalen Waddle?
I would wait on Godwin. I didn't even keep Waddle for a 6 because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with what's going on. I just have bad vibes.
Chris Meaney, everybody hates Jalen Waddle. You're dead to him. Sorry.
I actually like him overall as a player, but
you messing around with this backfield now that they kept Gaskin and Ahmed, who, by the way, Dave Richard from CBS was telling me the reason they kept both of them is because they have something that is lacking from Chase Edmonds in certain aspects. Like Chase Edmonds, okay, let me pause for everybody real quick. I'm not saying Chase Edmonds is not fast, but they love some speed. They are going to open up this offense and pass a lot. Chase Edmonds can't do it all himself. They wanted more fast guys to be able to, basically what he was saying is rotate out and keep everybody 100%. That rotate out and keep everybody at 100% because we know Mostert's fast, Edmonds is fast, Achman's got some wheels, Gaskin, if healthy, has some wheels. This feels more like the Patriots we should be concerned about in the backfield.
Yeah, it does. A lot going on.
Like we could see series drives where they're just
rotating through 3 or 4 backs. It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was surprised they cut Sony. This move
fast.
makes me feel a little bit better. He's not fast, yeah. This move makes me feel a little bit better about Raheem. I know that he hasn't been able to stay healthy, but it makes me feel like he is potentially the goal line back inside this offense and, getting some first. I don't think Chase Edmonds is going to get a ton of first and second
goal line
down
work. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to get any goal line
Some
work.
Mostert there?
I don't think. I think Mostert is like a late round pick.
Where did Mike McDaniel come from?
Yeah, San Fran.
The
and what did he tell
Shanahan
him? Yeah. And what did he tell him when he brought him over too? Mostert, you're going to be used the exact same way you're using San Fran. He even tweeted, they told me that they were going to use that way. That's why I wanted to go there. So, I don't know. He's the lead back, in my opinion.
Minnesota, KJ Osborne or Irv Smith going to have a better season as the third option?
KJ Osborne.
Okay. Moving on. That was quick. I mean, Minnesota, we don't have to spend a lot of time on. Patriots, we already hit on the backfield. So let's talk real quick. Wide receivers. Do you have interest in any of them? Devontae Parker. There's no. Jonnu Smith over Hunter Henry? Question mark.
I could see that. I could see it. He dealt with some injuries last year. If you're following the Pats and what they did, I mean, they paid so much money for him on opening day of free agency. It's weird that he wasn't really involved, but I wouldn't be shocked. I don't know. I don't like either. Maybe I'm looking into it too much, Jake. This offense just hasn't looked great. I know it's just preseason, but you're losing Josh McDaniels. I get it. Bill Belichick's a great coach. He's a great coach.
He's not the one in charge of the offense, though.
Exactly. He's
those
like
two
Matt
knuckleheads.
Patricia. He's teaching Matt Patricia how to call offensive plays.
And Joe
here.
Judge. They're sharing the offensive. They're two different units coaching the offense between Patricia and Judge. Like, what are we doing?
Give me
I feel like
Parker, and that's it. I think we'll see a trade, whether it's Aguilar or Kendrick Bourne. I think there has to be some sort of shuffle. I don't know. It doesn't look good, man.
2 questions for the Saints. Is Michael Thomas inside the top 20 this year? And then Olave versus Landry.
Really coming around on Landry as like the veteran guy. Thomas, no, not top 20. I think he'd be top 30. I don't think he's in wide receiver 2. I just think there's going to be headaches again with him this year. Olave, if you're shooting for upside, I go Olave, of course, over Landry. But I think Landry is the veteran guy in here and a guy that's just been durable, not a rookie. I think Jameis will lean on him in the slot.
Okay. I am going to call, that's a bold prediction today, Michael Thomas, top 20. There you go.
Okay.
Giants.
I like it.
Giants. Do we care about their wide receivers? Tony can't stay on the field. Wandell, gadget player. Kenny Galladay can't catch. As you mentioned, Sterling Shepard working his way back from injury. Darius Slayton made the roster. Like,
Sterling Shepard's back too, right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay,
he's
sorry,
playing. Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Returning from injury.
I think Waddell's kind of interesting, but there will be no consistency there. I like Daboll. They drafted him. They must have some plans for him as like a gadget player, like you said. Kadarius, you're right. Can't stay on the field. I'm totally in on him. I've been in on him all summer long. I've been taking him in a lot of spots, but now we're getting next week football starts, and he hasn't been playing. So you're drafting this guy who couldn't stay on the field last year, and now he's what? He's gonna just oh man, I don't know if I want to deal with the headache of wide receiver 40ish for him.
I tell you
And
what, the
Galladay's
Giants
not
need to
even
hire
getting any targets.
Giants need to do 2 things: replace their practice field turf and hire a freaking medical staff that knows what they're doing. Oh my god! Like I've never
Draft
seen.
Saquon. That's it. Oh, and Bellinger. Could Bellinger be okay? Could he be the what? Ricky Seals Jones, sir? Could he be the?
Do you? No. Here's the answer: is Daniel Jones even throwing 3,500 yards? Next team, let's go. New York Jets. Move on. We talked Carter and Hall. I don't think we need to talk more about this. If you're drafting Garrett Wilson, you need to be patient. He's the number 2, just like Olave. They'll be the number 2. Just wait. It might take a few weeks, so be patient. Your Eagles. This one's pretty hurt. We know Brown. We know the passing game. Are we still out on Miles Sanders, or does he now come at such a discount that you might as well take the flyer?
I would take him in around 10 or 9. I still stand by him being the lead running back in this offense, first and second down work, but it's going to be frustrating as hell. But you're drafting him as your 3rd or 4th back. That's it.
Elijah Moore for the question in there. I posted one of my most rostered player columns. Elijah Moore, super Elijah Moore, super Elijah Moore. He was wide receiver 2 over those final 6 games. 2!
Yeah.
1, yeah. 2.
Even without Wilson.
2.
So, yeah, he's fine.
Yes. And he was wide receiver 5 in points per game. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Deontay sounds like he would have played if it was the regular season. Najee Harris has a list, Frank. We talked all of that on Monday. Are we officially here where Pickens is definitively in front of Claypool, who spent the majority of the preseason in the slot?
I think so. Pickens, and it's another guy who just may be patient with him, but big body wide receiver, physical. He can block. I think he's going to be on the field quite a bit. I like him. I take a shot at him.
Yeah, we're rapid firing some of these, as you can tell. San Francisco 49ers. We're still waiting, hoping somebody gets cut. But as of today, it's just Elijah Mitchell. Right? The answer's in our face. I've said this the entire time. It's Elijah Mitchell unless somebody showed off during this time where he's been hurt. But nobody sees the opportunity.
No, nobody did. I know we want to rapid fire through some teams, and we should talk Trey Lance maybe next week too. I don't know. Is there a scenario where Trey Lance struggles in the first 5 weeks of the season and Jimmy
they turn to
Garoppolo takes
Garoppolo?
over again? Tell you what,
If
man,
they
you
start-
Trey Lance in the 5th round, it makes me sick.
I'm still taking Trey Lance in the 8th. I'm still taking
I
him
would
there.
take him in the 8th and 9th. I would take.
I don't think
yeah.
they turn to. If they start 1-4, that's another story because this is a playoff caliber team. The
First games
Seahawks.
are very winnable though.
Penny, are you taking flyers on Ken Walker, or Travis Homer right now at the end of drafts? Because you might as well take one because Penny is as fragile as they get.
I would take Walker outside 10 or 12, but I know Pete Carroll said he could be ready week 1, but the guy had sports hernia surgery.
And he said day to day.
I think he's going to miss a few weeks of the season. So I would take Walker if he's outside the top 10, but I think it's a stay away, the entire backfield.
So Buccaneers, Fournette, Chris Godwin talked about Mike Evans. So this is easy. Tom Brady's back. The question I have, though, did he maybe Brady share his secret sauce with Julio, and all of a sudden we get a resurgence of his? This is the Julio we wanted with Tennessee. Like, do we all of a sudden get top 30 Julio?
No disrespect, Tennessee fans, but I'm sure like Julio was like, man, Ryan Tannehill of Titans. Now he's like with the Bucs. He's probably rejuvenated here, but this is like a DFS guy. Like I don't think.
Is it though? Everybody wanted Russell Gage when he was the 3rd. Are we? Well, that's I guess the question. All right, is this Russell Gage factor, or is this Julio can't stay healthy factor? Or he's fallen off a cliff at this point in his career.
I don't think he's fallen completely off a cliff. I could see him getting 5 or 6 touchdowns. I don't think he's going to do what Antonio Brown did a couple of years ago in this offense. I still think he's the number 3 at best.
Okay.
Maybe even 4,
thank you, Mr. Nice Guy. It is like speed dating for fantasy. We have 2 more teams. We're going to get through them. The Tennessee Titans. The backfield behind Derrick Henry looks like a cluster right now between Haskins and the rest, and it's Hilliard as of today. Robert Woods, we love on this show. But if I told you today, Chris, you have to take the odds. Who finishes the season with more fantasy points, Robert Woods or Treylon Burks? Who are you taking?
I'm still going to go Woods. I know he doesn't score a lot of touchdowns, and he's not an X wide receiver, but I was still going to go Woods.
Austin Hooper, sneaky value at tight end. You agree?
Yep, I agree. Yep.
Austin Hooper or Evan Ingram?
Hooper.
All right. Team Hooper. We finish it out with the Washington Commanders. And backfield. Look, speculate. Brian Robinson could be back by week 1. There was a player in college, Raekwon, who got shot, but it was a grazed, and he was back in 1 week. But it was a grazed. Robinson shot twice. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Robinson back week 1, week 4, week 10. They haven't said. We don't know. Do with the backfield. Take your risk. I think Antonio Gibson's still a value, just especially because of that. Here's the interesting one as we close out on this. Wide receiver 2. Jahan Dotson or Curtis Samuel? For everybody out there, Curtis Samuel has spent the majority of his preseason in the slot. Dotson's mixed and matched, about 50-50, about 60-40 maybe, about outside a little bit more. And Terry McLaurin, majority of the time, outside. So does that fact alone make you say Dotson's already, like Pickens, in front of the veteran?
Yeah, for sure. I like when a guy's in the slot, like Samuel. I like if he can have that role, but...
Phrasing. As we close out the show on that, follow Chris Meaney at Chris Meaney. Dotson or Dubs? Pick one.
Dotson.
Okay, Chris Meaney at Chris Meaney. Code all in, get you 20% at FTN. I hope you guys appreciate it, but you can tweet both of us. You can drop in the comments after the show. We sped through all 32 teams with 1 extra minute to go over. We will back on Tuesday, week 1 waivers with stepmom Lauren. It's already here. Go to The Athletic and check out any of my columns, including week 1 waivers, which will be out next Monday at midnight, and you can get a discount for the season. Until then, enjoy Labor Day. Enjoy your final draft weekend. It's here, everybody.